Hi, I'm Joshua Popenoe. Welcome to my 4 Elements pronunciation practice. This is the first part of a live weekly Zoom class I give for my online members. I present an interesting sentence or quote and then use the 4 elements as a framework to illustrate every aspect of pronunciation, making it easy to identify and focus on what needs to improve. The 4 elements are vowels, consonants, rhythm, and connection. Vowels are open sounds. The mouth is always open, never blocked, so nothing is touching inside the mouth. Consonants are closed sounds. There's some kind of contact using the tongue, lips, or teeth. Rhythm is made from syllables. Every vowel and the consonants surrounding it make a syllable. It's the smallest unit of speech that makes a word or joins together with other syllables to make longer words. Syllables are large and stressed or smaller and unstressed. Rhythm happens when you connect stressed and unstressed syllables together. Connection is about how to connect words smoothly in a natural flow, and phrasing is the timing and intonation that joins them together, giving them specific meaning. IPA stands for International Phonetic Alphabet, which has a unique symbol for every sound in English. Remember these words: vowel, consonant, rhythm, syllable, connection, phrasing, and IPA. This introduction was pre-recorded for perfection. The rest of the video will be live and spontaneous, so please enjoy the imperfection of a 100% non-AI human being, me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Here we are again to practice a wonderful sentence today. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. I hope you understand that fully because it's very powerful. Something I want to do, I'll figure out how to do it. If I don't want to do it, I'll find an excuse not to do it. It was written by Jim Rohn, who I looked up was a businessman. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. All right, so as usual, the purpose of this lecture is to just guide you through the steps you need to take to pronounce it well. So we start from the macro to the micro. We start with rhythm and phrasing and intonation. Then we go to vowels, then consonants, then connection, and then we'll practice. So the first step is the rhythm. The lavender marks are the rhythm frame. This is a steady beat that keeps us moving through the phrase in an even tempo, which is really important. Some little details are hard to pronounce, some are easy to pronounce, and so you might tend to just not keep an even flow because of that. But tapping the rhythm frame helps to keep an even flow like that. So we tap the stressed syllables. That's what the lavender marks are. The little black marks are the unstressed syllables. Okay, so let's tap the stressed syllables. There are 4 phrases here. You can see the line that goes over, 4 phrases. A phrase is made of words that go together. It's a long sentence. Well, they're 2 sentences, actually. And if you just said them straight, it would be harder for us to grasp. But the words go together in the phrase, and we flow through it this way. So the first phrase, if you really want to do something, let's tap. If you really want to do something, next one, you'll find a way, period. If you don't, right, we're tapping the stressed syllables. If you don't, so the ones we tap, the if you are quick, da-da-da. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. You can do this along with me. Starting up, the first tap will be the really. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Let's do it together one more time. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. So you can watch this video again and practice these things for yourself. So the next thing I just want to mention again is the phrasing. There are 4 phrases, 2 sentences, 4 phrases. And so if you really want to do something, that is a thought. All the words go together. If you just went, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way, it would be much harder for us to grasp. It processes. If you really want to do something, what's next? You'll find a way. The phrasing, the melody, you can hear that. Da 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 da. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. Next sentence. If you don't, okay. If I don't, what? If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Very strong sort of melodic and timing framework to the sentence. And that's a really important part of speaking naturally, sounding good in English, is the phrasing. So one more time, do this with me. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. So rhythm and phrasing. Next thing I want to mention are the vowels, the big stressed vowels. So English, we have the big syllables, we have the little syllables. Vowels are open sounds, right? And the big stressed vowels have to be pronounced carefully. This is where you learn the technique for each vowel. Ah, E, A, O, O, various vowels. The little ones are very fast, and they're so fast that there's not time to make big, specific shapes. So the stressed syllables here are in red. Those are the ones that need to be pronounced clearly. The first one, really. That's E, but because it comes before an L, there's this little wave, real. Because for L, the middle of the tongue drops down. And so that creates a little wave you can hear. If I said read, you would just hear the vowel, E, read. But real, there's a little wave there. I'll explain more about that in a moment. Real. Then want is a middle central vowel. Gum, sun, want. It's not it's want. And then do is a diphthong. Ooh, there's a shape to it, right? Do, ooh. Then we have something again. Something. And the next one is I. That's also a diphthong, starting with going all the way to E. I. Find. So you have to open up enough so that we hear that whole shape as you close. Fine. Then A. Find a way. A is another one, but this is a center diphthong. Starts with and then you go to E again. A. The other one was I, ending in the same place. I starts fully open. Is in the middle. A. Find a way. Then the next is O. Don't. Another diphthong. O. This is a middle diphthong. O. Right? Lips come forward and gather into a small circle. Don't. O. And we have I again. Fine. I. And then we have excuse. You. That's 2 syllables. Da-da. Excuse, right? The second syllable is the stressed vowel. You. So that was like do. Ooh, same vowel there, but this has a Y in front of it. Excuse. If it didn't have that Y, it would be excuse, but this is excuse. These are the vowels. Now, of course, you can learn the technique for all of these vowels in my course in detail. Next, let's talk about consonants. A lot more consonants than vowels. Starting with if. That's a fricative consonant, friction. Top teeth, bottom lip, if. Then you. Y actually is called a glide consonant because it doesn't actually touch like all the others. The tongue glides. Yeah, you. Then we have R, really. R, and then L, la. Tongue touching, up here, la. And remember, with L, it's the release that indicates L. If I just go L, you don't hear anything clearly, but la, pressing up and has a kind of a snap when you release it. La, really. Then want, W, lips, wah, 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 want. You have N is touching here, T is touching here again, tip of the tongue. On the tooth ridge, that's the name of this. Teeth come in here, this hard gum is called the tooth ridge. Want. So we touch with the N, and then we have the T, followed by another T. That's a T stop, I'll mention later. Want to. T, t, unvoiced, releasing the T. And then D, do, duh. T and D are a pair. T, t, duh, duh. Most consonants come in pairs. One is voiced, one is unvoiced. T, T is unvoiced, D is voiced. Duh. Then we have S. Tip of the tongue is down on the gum line. Bottom teeth, gum line here. Friction again, pushing the air through, makes a nice hissing sound. Thumb. That's a voiced nasal consonant. Nasal means the nose is open. M. See, if you go M, your lips are shut, right? Voice can't come out of your mouth. Where's it coming out of? It's coming out of your nose. Your nose opens. M. Ma, 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 ma. Then TH, thing. Another fricative consonant. TH, unvoiced. This time, the tongue, somewhere here. Depends on how you're moving, but basically you're pushing breath through to make that friction. Thing. Then we have NG. That is another nasal consonant. The back of the tongue is pushing up, closing this exit, so sound is coming out of your nose. Thing. While you're doing it, you can pinch your nose and you'll feel it's coming out there. Then Y again, you'll, L, la, 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 you'll, F again, find. Into the N, into the D, find. N is voiced, D is voiced, touching the same place. Find. Then W again, the lips, whoa, whoa, whoa. Find a way. Then if, again, you, again, don't. That's the D, da, 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 don't. Then Y, you'll. This is unstressed. We'll talk about that. It's unstressed, so we're not saying you will. You'll. Then F again, find. ND, find, another N. N is also nasal. N, because the tongue is blocking the exit. So for that moment, an excuse. For that brief moment, the back shuts in the back, nose opens, and it comes out there, and then it closes again, and the sound comes out your mouth again. Find an X, right? X. There's no IPA for X. It's made of the sound K and S. Think about that. X, right? The purpose of IPA underneath the word is to give you a unique symbol for every sound. So there's no X there because X is made of the sounds K and S. And then we have another S again. Excuse. X, S, back to K again. Excuse. And then S at the end. Excuse. Now, let's talk about connection. And connection is about connecting. Mostly we want to connect our words so they flow. There are certain circumstances where we break or we separate, but in general, you want to think that your voice is flowing through the words you say. If you really, right, it's all connected. If you really want to, that's called a T stop. If you really want to, that's where the syllable ends with T, want, right, followed by a consonant. In this case, it's T as well. The first T there is a T stop. We don't go want. We don't release it. We go want to. The second T we release. If you really want to. If you really want to. T stop. to do. If you really want to do something. So all of that, even with that stop, you can have a feeling of flowing through it. If you really want to do something, and the to, look at the little symbol underneath, that little thing, that's called a schwa, right? That is the small, unstressed vowel sound. Tiny little shape. Listen to how small that is. Want to do. Want to do. The space between to do is really tiny to keep that natural rhythm flowing. And so there's never time to make a big shape. Want to do. So even though the word is to, if you read it alone, you would say to. You would never say to. In the sentence, in the phrase, when it's a schwa, it just becomes to. Want to do. Want to do something. So put all those together. If you really want to do something, and listen to that melody again, da 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 da. It's not going down. It's not the end of a sentence. It defines and outlines the phrase, but it doesn't end it. If you really want to do something, if I say that, you know that I'm going to continue. The listener knows that. So the way they listen, I got the first part, but there's more coming. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. Again, find a way. I put the blue line underneath find a way just to remind you to keep your voice flowing. Sometimes people will stop before a vowel, find a way or something, but I want you to connect. You'll find a way. So practicing all those consonants we just looked at, you'll find a way. You'll find a. Those are the places you need to learn to connect through. You'll find a way. If you don't, now there's a comma there, so there is a pause, but I also put the T stop. If you don't, because when we have T at the end of a phrase or the end of a sentence, we do a T stop. You know, if I see you on the street, I'll say, hey, wait. I won't say, wait. Hey, wait. I'll make a T stop. What would be another one? Gosh, I ate so much, I feel really fat. I'm not fat, but I ate so much, I feel really fat. Okay, so it's not fat. So here, if you don't, not if you don't. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Again, flow through that. Find an excuse. Consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. Find an excuse. You'll find an excuse. Okay? I will let you try it with me. We'll do it 2 times. Repeat after me. I'll leave you space. If you want to tap, that can be really helpful. So after me, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. One more time. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And from now on, if you really want to do something, don't make an excuse. Just do it. Okay? So thank you very much and hope to see you next time. Take care, everybody. I hope that was helpful. Now I'll be working with my members for the rest of the live session. If you'd like to join us, work with me, and continue learning the 4 elements in detail, along with every technique you need to improve your English pronunciation, come join my online pronunciation membership, which includes over 100 videos teaching every technique you need for good English pronunciation. For more information, go to popenoemethod.com. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time.